Welcome! You're watching today's Writerpreneur Show episode about popular blogging myths. It's me, Jonah, founder and chief trainer of Writing Hacks Academy, as your host. If you know someone who's an aspiring blogger or maybe is currently blogging, just started a blog, tag them, share this video with them so that they can join our live discussion and ask questions because I have a guest that you'll be excited to know about. She's a veteran blogger who writes about parenting, food, beauty, and finance. She's the founder of Roxas-Ylaya PR, a go-to public relation firms for launches, digital marketing, and content creation. She's been blogging for a while and also an admin of a famous bloggers group that I am part of. So I'm excited to have with us Kenny Ngo of lifeiscooliful.com. Welcome, Kathy!
Hi! Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. Thank you. Nakakataba ng puso. Thank you.
Oo nga. Everything, including your background, is colorful. Same as the name of your vlog. I noticed lang. Anyway, everyone who's watching, please comment and say hi so that we can greet you. Let us know where you're from. Type nyo rin if you're a blogger and feel free to share din yung URL ng vlogs ninyo para Kathy and I can check it. So let's start our kwentuhan, Kathy. Tanungin muna kita, what's your story like? How did you become a blogger?
Okay, so how I became a blogger is really a funny story. I gave birth in 2005, and my son was the first apo. So, first grandchild on both sides. So, people kept asking, how's the baby? Is the baby crawling? Is the baby this? Is the baby that? And I have to reply to each and everyone via email. Because that time, it was just email. There was no Facebook. There was no site where you can just share things. So I'd have to constantly respond to email. And I got so tired. So one time I was complaining, like, isn't there any way that I can just, send a poster to everyone and they'd know in a snap what's happening? And someone mentioned, why don't you start a blog? I said, what's that? Said, it's an online journal. You can just post pictures and then updates of your kid and send them the link. So this was 2005. I got curious. I eventually started doing it January of 2006. So I would share photos of my son. So if you actually go to the archive of my blog, the first entries were all just my son. It was just update on his first month, second month, the first tooth, the first vaccine. It was all that. And then it kind of just started having a life of its own. During that time, the bloggers were arts and crafts people from the US, Africa, and European countries. So I discovered them, and we would all interact with each other. And there would be memes like every Thursday you'd share a photo, every Friday it's all about food, and you'd blog about it, and you'd do blog hops. So it's really a small community, and in a way, everyone knew everyone, even though it was worldwide. And we'd have swaps. So that's how I started with blogging. And then it kind of took a life of its own until brands started reaching out. And I was really surprised because I wasn't promoting my blog. I didn't know that there was a thing with events or blog with brands because I was just really writing about my life. That's how I got into it. And 15 years later, I'm still here.
Let's not count the years na. Pero
I feel old.
two comments about what you shared. Parang first, you started blogging, just treating it as a diary. Kasi I think that's how parang blogs were designed before
Mm-hmm.
versus now that people wants to have it for profit or to go for number of likes and followers. But my second comment or question is, what platform did you use before? Kasi I don't know if there's already blogger.com or WordPress around that time. I started blogging in 2011 using WordPress. So, I don't think even WordPress, baka Friendster blog pa nga yung gamit ko before and Multiply.
No, mine
Do you
is
remember?
Blogger. It's still blogger.com. I never switched. At up to now, I still use blogger.com. So I've been using the same site for 15 years.
That's
I
nice.
didn't migrate. People keep
Mm.
trying to get me to migrate, but I have over 4,000 blog posts. I'm
Mhm.
scared to migrate because if I lose something, I'd be like,
Don't
no.
transfer na. Kasi
I have no plans.
I think that's your advantage din that you started early in the same platform. Kasi when you search for certain articles, mas madaling makikita since ikaw na
Mm-hmm.
yung matagal na nandun. But when you did this as a business or kailan ka nag-decide talaga to say na, okay, I'll find clients, I'll market my services. Doon sa 15
Mm,
years na yon, can you remember? Or was it
actually,
unplanned?
uh, it was unplanned. In 2013, people were asking for my help. Hi, can you blog about us? Hi, can you try and review us? And I'm like, okay. So I did everything, pro bono. I was just really happy to be invited and to just eat for free in a sense, and to help out other brands who would ask like, can you get bloggers for me? Can you do this for me? Can you market? And I was just doing it for free until someone said, you really should ask for payment. And I said, why? You get paid to do that? Because yeah, you can. Said, no, I don't want to. I have a job. I'm okay. Um, so what happened was I asked for a sign from God because I was working in a call center then, and I had the craziest schedule because it would change every 2 days. Then from I'd be 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Then the next day I'd be 1 a.m. to 10 a.m. So my health was suffering. So I said, okay, give me a sign if I should give this freelance thing a try. I'm scared. The call center industry, I know like the back of my hand. So give me a sign. And then you know what happened? The next day, on my way to work, I collapsed in the middle of the street. I woke up in hospital, surrounded by police. Because apparently, it was a police patrol that saw me on the street. So, hindi ako pinadalhan ng sign ni Lord. He sent me a billboard that I should stop my work and I should try freelancing. And so I did. I started with freelance. It was very scary. The my I think I earned 10% of what I used to earn when I was in the call center industry. But weird enough, after a year, I was able to fully pay my son's tuition fee, which I've never been able to do when I was in the corporate world. For some reason, even with the corporate world, we get paid monthly, and you're sure what's gonna come in. Um, when I did freelancing, I became more financially stable. When I thought na I would be more parang not stable, because freelancing, if you don't have clients, you have nothing.
We had a similar experience because I left my job in 2016 to pursue freelance writing and training naman because I also had an accident. So I slipped and hit my back near the MRT station.
Ooh.
So parang that became a reflection period of what I want to do in the long run. But what really parang caught my attention about what you said is things seem to be effortless because bloggers nowadays would might have an idea na sa simula pa lang they wanna earn, they wanna go for followers.
Mm.
But with you, parang kung sa term ngayon, it's like organic, di ba? Na parang,
Yeah, I got lucky.
oo,
I think
oo.
I got lucky because I started at the time that no one was blogging. And then I really love writing. Writing is my passion. If there are people who have musical notes in their head, I have words constantly floating in my head. I'm the kind of person that if someone says something, I would know what the next words parang would be the perfect fit.
Mhm.
um I'm that person na if someone's fighting, I'd have a scenario in my head and this is what they're supposed to say. So I have
Mm.
words constantly floating. So writing is my thing. I When I write my blog post, I never edit, and it has to be done in like 5 minutes or less. Because if it takes longer, I feel like it's work already. So
Mhm.
I think that's one of my advantages. I love writing. So it's kind of part like breathing for me. So it's not super hard. And then I started way back. So I already have a foundation. For the ones who are just starting now, if they think na it's as easy as one, two, three, then they really need to rethink because there's a lot of hard work involved to get to where you want to be in this industry.
True, and it's good that you mentioned writing as a foundation because parang it's one of the main tasks you'll be doing as a blogger. Patingin muna natin some of the viewers that we have right now, and then after, we'll ask Kathy to share us yung 5 myths na gusto niya i-debunk for aspiring bloggers. We have someone watching from Bicol, si Princess Sandra, hello. Si
Hello
Chelsea is
po.
also watching from Masbate. Yeah, let's show you mga comments nila. We also have Ella from Occidental
Wow.
Mindoro. Yan, asking about plagiarism. We
Plagiarism.
can say something about that later. Si Ramil also is saying hi to you. Hi, Kathy Ngo.
Hello.
Alright, sino pa yung other viewers natin? Si Ella Guache, Jamila Usop, watching from Lanao del Norte.
Wow.
Yeah, we have people from all over the Philippines. Si Jenny Pagan also says hello. Yan, go tag your friends or share this video if you know someone who's into vlogging. So, Kathy, simulan na natin yung top 5 list and mamaya balikan natin yung mga comments
Mm-hmm.
and questions.
Okay, for the myths, blogging myths, there are a lot. But I guess my least favorite, so it's number one is blogging is just posting and that's it. What I always say is if blogging was so easy, almost everyone would be doing it and everyone would be succeeding. So right now, almost everyone has become a blogger or a vlogger. But not everyone can maintain it or is succeeding. Why? Because one, this is really about passion. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, as with almost anything, if you want to succeed. Because blogging is hard work. You have to come up with good content. You have to come up with content that you want to write about, but also everyone wants to read about. So you have to kind of balance between the two. And balancing between the two, that's going to be the tipping point. If your blog is going to be something that people would read and come back to, or if they're just going to pass by and just forget about it. Lucky for me, been able to write about things that people want to read about, and I've been able to build naman my reputation that they know if I recommend something, it's because I really believe in that thing, and I'm not just recommending it for the sake of recommending it. It means that I've tried the product. I loved it. That's why I'm recommending and telling you to spend your hard-earned money on that thing. So blogging is not easy. It's hard work. But if you do the work and this is your passion, you will never have to work a day in your life. That's where this applies for blogging. The next one is another myth is when it comes to news and journalism. So what I always say is a journalist can be a blogger, but not almost all journalists can be a blogger, but not all bloggers can be a journalist. Okay, so that is a big thing for me because I took up journalism, and a lot of people say, "But I have a site, I have a following, so if I write about the news, that makes me a journalist." No, because journalists they go through a lot of training. They go finish a 4 year school. They have a lot of skills that had to be polished. So you can't just become a journalist. But yes, all journalists can be bloggers in the same way that stewardess can be a blogger, a pilot can be a blogger, because blog is just really an online diary. It's where you put your thoughts. It's where you share your thoughts. Okay, so I hope that one is clarified for almost everyone. Now, can you make money out of blogging? That's the third myth. Because a lot of people think, yes, as soon as I become a blogger, I'm going to make money. Sadly, no. Making money from blogging, you will have to do, I would say, years of hard work, or at the very least, months of hard work. You can make money, but it's not instant. Unless you're a celebrity and then you did the blog, then you can make money. But if you're a regular person, if you want to make money, I would suggest keeping your day job and making this your 7 to 1. So 7 to 1, that's not my quote. That's from Carlo Ople, one of my most respected vloggers out there. So he would say that keep your job and then make it your 7 to 1, meaning from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. This is your passion. This is where you put in a lot of your efforts and your time, and really just doing the thing that you love. And eventually, if it starts making money, then you can slowly switch from your day job to the blogging world when you're already starting to make a lot of money. But since I also write about finance, another pro tip for you guys is if you're going to make that switch, make sure you already have an emergency money worth 6 months of your salary before you jump into blogging. Because if it doesn't work for you, at least you have your emergency money and then you can go back to your day job. Because sadly, not everyone will succeed with blogging. Next, I'm just a blogger. I don't need to have perfect grammar. That's another myth that I want to address. So, if you're a blogger and you're just blogging for yourself, then yes, you can have backyard grammar, you can have really wrong spelling. But if you're aiming to be an influencer, a micro influencer, or you already have a following, for me, I believe that it is your responsibility to set a good example because kids read blogs. Kids want to be bloggers. Kids want to be vloggers because that's something that they see. And you have to set a good example for them. So if this is something that you want to pursue and you're not that good with grammar, spelling, there are a lot of activities that you can take online for you to slowly get better. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be wanting to be better. That for me is really very necessary. I hate it when people say, I'm just a blogger. I don't need to have perfect English. Filipino naman ako eh. So what? It doesn't matter what your race is. This is something that you do. The moment you have a following, it is your responsibility to your followers to give them the best that you have to offer because you wanted that following. So you have to be responsible. Sabi nga ni Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. If you agree with any of the things that I said, please sound off. And if not, sound off as well. We'd love to know why. Because, the other thing is, if you're a blogger, you don't need to learn anything new. That's another myth that I want to address. When you're a blogger, as with anything in life, you have to constantly learn. You have to constantly improve. You have to constantly up your game. Blogging requires you to learn digital marketing, photography, layout, graphic design, SEO, all those things. If you want to be a successful blogger, those are things that you need to read up on. And since everything changes constantly, you need to be updated constantly and you have to be innovative. You can't just expect that I'm going to write, people will read, and that's it. You need to be able to evolve, you need to be able to adjust, and you need to be able to up your game all the time if you want to make blogging a profession. As with anything, if you go to office, you have your training, you have your upskill training, you have your com skills, you have team buildings, you have product trainings. It's the same when it comes to blogging. It's not just writing, because blogging nowadays involves really good layouts, really good images, really good video teasers. So, it's evolved into this kind of masterpiece. And for you to create your own, you have to be able to adapt. You don't need to copy, you just have to adapt to it. So that's, I think, five or six already. I'm not sure. I think I have six.
I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
That's a good signal though. Sige, let's review yung tips from Kathy or yung myths na dinebunk niya, and then let's have follow-up conversations about it. First, yung blogging is hard work. So, ang myth is that it's simply writing or nagusulat ka lang or madali lang siyang gawin. It's not. So, Kathy said it takes passion and skills. Then the second one is journalists can be bloggers, but not all bloggers can be journalists. So magkaibang field ang blogging and journalism. I also took mass communication and entirely different skill set, especially techniques in writing and information that you need to know. You can't make money from blogging easily or instantly. So ito yung isang myth na dinebunk niya. Next would be learn proper grammar. Hindi basta-basta sulat lang. You need to proofread and polish your work. And last is be innovative. Let's check our comments from viewers, and also I'll be asking follow-up questions kay Kathy. If you have questions, please type them too. Si Dennis Rito, greeting and tagging si Princess Klein, si Alex. Hello from Chelsea. Hello da kay Coach Kathy. Alright. I'll go backwards, no? I'll quote first yung sinabi mo about being innovative. So, can you recall parang a situation in your blogging career when you had to innovate, come up with a new idea that you applied for your blog, something that you haven't tried before? Kasi if we have bloggers watching naman who's not new and have been in the game for the longest time, and they might feel na they're not picking up the number of readers that they like, or they're not getting the clients that they want, and blogging is not what they hope to be. Ano yung ma-advise mo sa kanila, or ano yung naisip mong something you've tried before that became that caused a breakthrough for you somehow?
For me, so I'm a writer. I love words. I thrive on words. I hate images. I hate graphic design. I hate before I hate it. I hated anything involving Canva. If you mention the word Canva to me, I'm like, no, I'm not that. I'm a writer. I will just write. I don't need images. Um, but sadly, people evolve, and your readers before, they were okay with a blog post that was just full of text and a few raw images. But now people want to see a nice image first, and then they will read. So I saw a huge decline in my readership a few years back. I was like, what happened? And then I saw some people who were not really, I'm going to sound arrogant, but this is just my opinion, guys. Please don't judge me. Who were not that good in writing, but they were getting a lot of readers. So I studied them. Because for me, don't envy. Learn how they do it and then do it better. So I studied these blogs, and I realized they have really good images. They have good headers. They have images. Sometimes their blog posts would be really 10 sentences and 8 images, and people would read. So I realized people like the images. They like looking at the images more, and if it has a few key points, that works. So I learned to do that. I had to adapt. And then my readership came back tenfold pa. So that was one of the things that sometimes you just have to really adjust. That's why I said you have to innovate yourself and you have to learn new skills. So before, I super hated Canva. Now Canva is like my best friend. And I feel like I don't know what I would do if they disappear, because I don't know anything about graphics. So if you make me do a poster, I can't do it on my own. But with Canva, I become a graphic designer all of a sudden. And that's a skill that I'm really happy that I got to acquire, and that, I swallowed my ego and accepted that I need to learn to do this. That no matter how good my words are, if they're not reaching the right people, then it would be no use. So if you guys are struggling, what I would suggest is study 5 persons that you admire who are in the same field, study what they're doing, learn it, and then get better at it. That's how you get ahead of the game. Because some people will be like, they just backstab and say bad things. But I believe that if you just study the competition, you can get better at it. Because you know how sometimes people say, I don't compete with anyone. You're not competing with anyone. But it would be unwise of you to not study what the competition is doing, not find out what they're doing really good or better at, because that's how you can also improve. Especially in this industry that we're in, we don't really have mentors. We don't have companions. We don't have office mates, co-workers. This is just us on our laptops. So you need to be able to see how others are doing, and then adapt and get better at it.
You've mentioned about finding mentors or people that they can replicate. That's one purpose that we have in hosting this show, the Writerpreneur Show, because writers and entrepreneurs also need role models to follow and see what they're doing, what works for them, so that we can also adapt it. And you mentioned about learning images and videos. I believe na bloggers nowadays should be parang multimedia
You have to be
talented.
a multi-hyphenate. Yes.
Oo, kasi aside from writing, you should be good at images, storytelling, videos
Mm-hmm.
na. You're also starting to create vlogs
True.
and videos because yung pattern then of the readers are changing in how they use social media.
True.
Um,
And the best vlogs are actually the ones where the vlogger is just kind of talking to you, like how you would do a blog post. Because the viewers feel a kinship. They feel like they're part of that world. They're part of your world, and you're talking to them directly. So that's an advantage of a blogger in becoming a vlogger.
Backstage, Kathy and I were also talking about parang what we noticed or observed with new bloggers. Kathy mentioned about not being able to earn from blogging instantly. So I just want to go back to that myth. Ano, as a PR agency, because you also partner with new bloggers, um, is there really parang a number of followers or readers that bloggers should set for before they charge? And yung sinabi mo kanina na usually 1 year waiting period before you earn from blogging, um, uh, have you encountered siguro vloggers who started na biglang income agad or ah, biglang maraming
Sa
projects per
sadly,
project?
yes. Sadly, yes. So I would, because I want to support new bloggers. So if the client will allow, I would get new bloggers. So we'd ask bloggers to sign up. We'd look for a specific niche, and I'd tell them submit your URLs, and we'll review. And then, sometimes you find a gem and you reach out. And I would say, hi, we were interested in collaborating. And then this blogger who had five blog posts, um, and then I think around 5,000 views a month, less than 5,000 views a month, and less than 100 followers on Instagram. But I like her writing style. And then she said, oh, but I charge 20,000. So medyo
Pesos.
na-shock. Yeah, so like, what? So I said, I'm sorry, did you say 20? Yes. And then that was just for Instagram story. I said, do you want to explain to me why? So I asked her like why, and apparently she heard that other influencers were charging that much. So I had a choice. I could just, block her, or I could explain to her why she should not yet, and that, eventually there will come a time that she may be able to do that. She blocked me. So there are a lot of misguided souls because they think that if I'm pretty, I have pretty OOTDs, I have a few followers, I can already charge a lot. No, there is a certain minimum. Okay, it's not all about the numbers, but there is a certain minimum, and there's a certain way that you can start charging even if you're new, but not too high, because it's good that I guess you value yourself that much, but you also need to be realistic in the sense that the value that you put on yourself, is that really the value that you can offer to the brand? If the brand pays you 20,000, will they really reach 20,000 worth of people? Will there really be returns? Would your followers be purchasing their product or using their app? So there's a lot of things that you need to consider. For me, I'm really more of style of writing. A certain number of views, I would say around 10,000 views a month, is in this day and age is acceptable that we
Mm.
can collaborate with you. Less than that, I would suggest, getting better in syndicating your blog and promoting your blog. Because if you also do the legwork of syndicating your blog, promoting it, who knows, a brand might actually see your post and collaborate with you. So, for example, I used to sing, used to being the keyword, because obviously now I'm older, you drink cold water, you yell and scream, and you kind of mess with your voice. So I don't really sing anymore. And then one time, I'm not a fan of Instagram story, but I IG storied our karaoke session here at home just for fun. And what I do is when I IG story, I never ever look back. Like I don't check if 10 people watch it or 100 people watch it. I don't. I just post it and I forget about it. Uh, and miraculously, a brand reached out, said, "Hey, we want to partner with you. We're going to send you this, and we just want a video of you singing." I was like, "Really? How did you know I was singing?" And I said, "Oh, we saw your IG story." So you don't know it. You guys don't know who's watching, who's observing. One thing I realized with PR people, they're always watching. They're always observing. They rarely react to your post, but they're always watching. So when you post something, have the mindset that someone's always reading it. It has to be post like there's no one reading, so that you post as yourself,
As you speak. Mm-hmm.
yes, but post also in the sense that you think that perhaps the president would get to read it, or
Mm.
Pope John Paul would get to read it, so or your mom will read it. And you have to be mindful of your manners, your words, but stay true to yourself. So it's really a dance between the two, being true to yourself, but at the same time being able to convey a certain message that you want to present to the world without being fake.
You mentioned about syndicating posts. I think for aspiring bloggers, they may not be familiar of what
Mm.
syndicating is. So can you define that in your own words?
So syndicating, guys, when you do a blog post, you can't just write and then leave it as is. You have to share it because nowadays everyone's writing. So how will you get your word out unless you're Neil Gaiman, that a certain tweet just goes viral for no reason at all, or like a really huge YouTuber who says hi and it gets retweeted 100,000 times. For us ordinary people, we need to put ourselves out there. And the good thing is you just do it online. So when you have a blog post, be proud of it. Share it on your Facebook timeline. Share it on Twitter. Share it with your friends who you think will benefit from it. Make sure that they are people who can benefit. Don't just tag everyone, okay? That's really irritating. Tag the ones who you think can benefit from it so it shows on their feed, and if they're okay with that. And if you see anyone asking a question and you have a blog post that fits it, you can say, "Hey, happy to help you. I actually wrote something about this. Here's the link." So it's not rude, it's helpful, but at the same time, you get to promote your writing. I've been doing that a lot, and that's how sometimes I get clients because they'd see, "Hey, you posted about this, and I like what you wrote. Let's talk." So syndicating is just really promoting your material online. So it can be now on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Google Keen. There's just a lot of platforms nowadays, and you'd be crazy not to do that. And then repurpose. That's another thing. Syndicate and repurpose. What do you mean by repurpose? Sometimes you have a quotable quote on your blog post. So turn that into an image, pin it on Pinterest, tweet it, Instagram it, and then link everything back to your blog so that your blog will be recognized by Google as a legitimate site. It's not a fake site. And then when people start looking for things, Google will index you. And then if you're lucky, you can be on the top 10 search results of Google. That's like the holy grail of blogging. If you're in the top 10, that happened to me with a soap I reviewed for fun. It was a brand of soap that I did not know. I found it weird. I wrote about it. Apparently, I'm the only person in the entire world who wrote about it. So even people from Peru messages me like, hey, I want to order that. I'm like, oh, I'm from the Philippines. I can't ship to Peru.
But I think very helpful yung shinare mo about syndication because that's also parang one expectation we'd like to have aspiring bloggers to have na if you're blogging, be prepared to market yourself because there might not be problem when it comes to writing. Baka you're good at it, but if you are reserved and don't want to share your posts to groups or even on your own Facebook wall, then it would be a challenge for you. It's something that you should embrace. I have here a question. Follow up question with your story. This is from Ramil. How did the brand saw you on Instagram? Is he or she your follower? Um,
Uh, no, actually. So this is where hashtags come in. So before hashtags were just for Instagram, but now finally every single platform has started to recognize the value of hashtags. So I posted on Instagram. My Instagram story is set to public so that anyone can access it. And then I used the hashtag, I think karaoke nights or karaoke, and that's how they found me. So they just looked up karaoke, and apparently my video was there, and they watched it. I guess they like what they saw. That's why they reached out. So that's also another thing, pala, that I got really confused with some bloggers. If you're a blogger and you're not writing just for yourself, you want brands to collaborate with you, do not set anything to private. It's
mm-hmm.
crazy if you're a blogger and your Twitter is on private, your Instagram is on private. Like, what's the point? You want to be out there, you want collaborations, you want the public to see you, to read about you. You have to be ready to be public. And this is very important because before, I had everything set to private. If people actually followed me, I would block them. So I'm so sorry to the first 100 followers on Instagram. I was like, I don't know this person block. I know this person block. And then someone said, why are you blocking them? I said, I don't know them. Yeah, but you want followers. I said, I do? Yes, you do. That's marketing yourself. So stop making your tweets private, stop making your Instagram private. Because the moment you choose to professionally blog, in a small way, you become a super mini micro public figure.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to
Super
be
mini mic.
um, because you're not really a public figure, we're not celebrities, we're not guys, so we're like super mini micro public figures. And if people want to search for us, we should be, I don't even know if this is Googleable. We should be found on Google. You can be Googled. See, it has to be that way. Because if not, then people will just be like, I don't know this person. Baka fake blogger or fake person or, dummy account. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there. That's also another thing. It's hard for introverts. Like, I'm an introvert. No one will believe I'm an introvert, but I'm really an introvert. But this is my work. So I have to be an extrovert for my work, and I have
Right.
to, be okay. I'm doing this what we're doing right now. I have to be okay with this. I have to be okay with videos of myself. I have to be okay being on YouTube because this is my work. But in my personal life, I choose to be behind the camera. I choose to talk to people with words, not myself. But I chose this because this is something that I'm semi good at, and I make money out of it. So I have to be willing to put myself out there. And you also have to be willing to do that. You have to really do the work to yield good results.
We have four questions lined up here. Unahin ko yung comment related with what you're saying. Do you tag the brands with your posts? And mentioning about searchability, is SEO really connected with blogging? Do you have to know search engine optimization if you want to blog?
Okay. Do I tag the brands? Actually, no, because the good brands have this. I don't know what they use, but they have this app that searches on Google daily for any mention about them. So I don't tag them, especially if I'm not really working with them or collaborating with them. I just mention them, and the good brands has a way of finding you. So, for example, there's this coffee brand that I super, super love. And I wasn't part of their media group. And then I got lucky that I met the marketing person. But I didn't know how to really pitch myself. So what I did was I just mentioned that I had the blog, and this person got curious, looked up my blog, saw that I had 92 links about their product, and said I have more write-ups compared to their actual media group. So I became a part of their media group. So if there's a brand that I'm thinking that there's a brand that you want to work with, mention them, post about them, review them. You can write good or bad things. Constructive feedback is very much welcome by good brands. They love that because that's the one way for them to improve. Just keep mentioning them, and when the time comes that you're ready to meet the marketing person, you already have ammunition set for you. Now, regarding SEO, before my answer would be no, because I didn't really do SEO. I just really I was really right. But nowadays, because there's so many blogs, sadly, I would say that yes, you need to learn a little bit about SEO. But you shouldn't be scared of SEO because SEO actually is, if you're a good storyteller, SEO will come to you naturally. It's almost effortless because SEO is just meant to make your content searchable, easy to search. So one tip that I will share with you guys when it comes to SEO is, how you look for things on Google? That's how you should title your blog post. So if you search for something like book review of Harry Potter, when you do your review, don't just put Harry Potter blah blah blah. No, type your title as book review of Harry Potter. That makes you that makes your title SEO friendly automatically. And then, if you're using WordPress, they actually have a plugin that teaches you how to be better at it. For Blogger, guys, there's so many materials on this. Again, the materials are endless. You just really have to do the legwork that sadly a lot of people don't want to do.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Mag-segue lang ako because we mentioned about SEO and content writing. So Writing Hacks Academy, we have this online course called Content Writing Essentials. So if you want to start a blog and upgrade your writing skills and also learn SEO, so you can go to the link that I'll post here. So you have an option of getting a 1 year or lifetime access to our course lesson. Yung profile of our instructor is here also, and a promo code that you can use to enroll. So there are many resources in Writing Hacks Academy for you to learn writing articles, blogging, SEO. But of course, you can also follow bloggers like Kathy, and eventually she may announce a mentoring program. Also, something that we'll be excited about. We have another question here from one of the viewers, si Rowie. I'm stuck with writing my about page, and that's why I'm not launching my blog. What's your advice?
Forget your about page. Just do your blog. That's something that I learned. Sometimes we get so caught up with small details, we get so caught up with perfecting things that we don't do anything. So for now, if you're stuck about your about page, forget about it. Go to your body. Just write anything that you want. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. My about page, I think, has evolved more than 100 times. It gets changed every so often because you evolve as a person. Your wants, desires, needs, your intentions in life changes. So right now, if you're stuck, that means that you don't really know yet what you want to do with your life or who you are. And that's a good thing because it means that you're evolving, you're learning, you're becoming a better person. So forget about your about page. Just write, I'm sorry, what is her name? Rowie?
Yes, Rowie.
So just write, I am Rowie. I blog. That's it. And then start blogging. No, really, because if you don't start writing, when will you start? There's never a perfect time. Now is the perfect time. You will never get that perfect time, perfect moment, perfect about you page. So write, I am Rowie. I blog. Read my words. That's it. And then just start writing. And eventually, one day you will realize, oh, okay, I know what I want to write. already here on my about page. And then that's when you go back to it. Because nowadays, the chances of someone reading your about page is 1 out of 100,000. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
even really, that big a deal. But the chances of people reading your content because you wrote something is way higher. So forget about your about page, just start writing. And also, I just want to go back to the comment of the other person, yung about plagiarism. How do you avoid
Yes.
it? Um, how do you avoid it? Read, take the context of the content, and then just start writing from your own words. Because sometimes some people kind of copy paste
Yes.
and then forget that, oh, I got this from someone else. Now, if you can't avoid that, credit. You know how I mentioned earlier the 7 to 1? Again, I said that's not mine. That's from Carlo Ople. So
Mm-hmm.
always credit whoever you got your inspiration from, just to be on the safe side. Now, just make sure, of course, that they don't have writing permissions or what have you. But as long as you're not directly copy pasting something, you should be safe from plagiarism. Because I've been doing this for 15 years. I've had blogs inspired by something. I've had blogs inspired by one line, by a video, and I've never plagiarized. I have no intention, so that should keep you safe.
How about tips in writing a catchy blog name from Princess?
A catchy blog name. Okay, I'm curious as to why you need a catchy blog name. Because even if your blog name is catchy but your content is not, people will not stay. So I would also give you the same thing. Stop obsessing over the catchy name. Create a name that speaks of you, of your personality, of your being, of what you want to write about, and then make sure your content is the one that's catchy. Now, how do you make it catchy? Write something that you would read. Write something that you would share. Write something that you think is interesting. Because when you write something just for the sake na this has to be catchy, it has to be viral, trust me, it will be dry and boring and no one will read it. Or even if you succeed, eventually you will get so tired because you have to go through a long process just to come up with one post that has to be catchy, and then you'll stop doing this because the joy will be out and you won't enjoy this anymore, and then wala na.
We have interactive audiences here. Thank you for watching. Batiin natin si Ray Floresca. She's also a blogger. Um, si Chris Cementina. Hello. Thank you for joining us, Chris. One question, and then after that, your closing advice for writerpreneurs or aspiring bloggers. What differentiates a blogger versus an influencer? You mentioned about the story of someone who wanted to charge a high rate right away. Baka ang iniisip niya ay influencer na siya. So for you, what separates the two? And should bloggers right away call themselves as influencers?
No, 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 no. No, do not call yourself an influencer, even if you are already an influencer. Okay, so um, please, if you guys can get anything, that's the one thing. Do not ever call yourself an influencer. Have other people call you an influencer. It sounds nicer, it feels better, but do not ever call yourself an influencer. Because one, an influencer is such a heavy role because it means you're influencing a lot of people that one single mistake can destroy you, and that's just too much of a burden to have. So what's the difference between a blogger and an influencer? A blogger is someone who just shares their thoughts, writes from the heart, probably the super mini micro, a public person. The influencers, I think you become an influencer the moment that you become an ambassador of a brand. You become the face of a brand. The moment you have those, TV commercials, the moment that you have ads, then you become an influencer already. But that's for brands to decide. You never decide na, okay, I'm an influencer now, I'm gonna rate myself like this. To be safe with those things, I always ask, what's your budget? Because I gauge how much they think my worth is. It's also the safest way for you to know if you don't know how much the rate should be. Because, eventually you get, okay, so this one, tinipid ako. This one, this is the higher price. So you would have an idea. But don't ever call yourself an influencer. It's, I don't know, it makes me cringe. I've experienced that now. I'm an influencer. I was invited here. And then the person wasn't on the list. So medyo, to avoid that, just call yourself a blogger because that's what you are. And you should be proud that you are a blogger. There's really nothing to be ashamed of as a blogger. A blog is just really a personal thing that you do or something that you do to share to others to help out. So, blogging is really all about good intentions and sharing with your community the things that you love, the things that you think they'll love, and the things that you think are worth their money. So there's nothing to be ashamed of with being a blogger. I would probably call myself a blogger anytime, any day. And if you want to be an influencer, wait for someone to tell you na, hoy, you're an influencer already.
That's a great advice. I remember one funny story of a blogger who was taking pictures at a parang canteen, at the canteen lang yung karinderya. And when the tindera parang notice na nagpi-picture siya, tinanong siya, "Uy, influencer ka ba? Bibigyan kita ng discount." Kasi kasi 'di ba, of course as vloggers, we're the ones doing this job. So at least alam natin what differentiates it because not everyone would know, 'di ba? And
I,
um at least yung
true.
value of humility and having others acknowledge your work, keeping yung good intentions. Because kapag sinabi mong blogger ka and or influencer ka and like what Kathy said, you did something wrong, parang the entire group of bloggers and influencers yung affected because of that simple act.
True.
So when you get into this, you're part of one community. You're not just representing yourself, you're representing fellow bloggers. Some companies or brands do not or are afraid to invite bloggers because they had negative experiences
Mm-mm.
in the past and they would have this misconception na ay yung mga blogger na yan, they're just getting our loot bags, they're not really
True.
posting on time, yung mga
Yeah.
articles na pinadala. So, kasama yung attitude um,
True.
that we need to educate aspiring bloggers about this. Someone's greeting you, si SJ Valdez. Hi
Ah,
daw,
hello
Miss
po.
Kathy. Thank you
She's
for
one of
for
my best
watching.
writers.
We also
She's
have
really good.
Ivan Jose saying
Hello.
hello. Great insights. I think si Rowie, whom you gave your advice earlier, she's launching today.
Please send
Meron
us the
agad
link. I want to read your first post.
si my previous post, was it?
No, no. If she's writing today, I want to see
Okay,
the
okay.
first post.
Oo. We also have si Blessy. Hello, Blessy. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us. Ayan, thank you for everyone who watched the show. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and comment your questions. We'll be able to see it. But for now, I'll ask Kathy to share where you can follow her and also yung answer niya to the question, what's your tip for writerpreneurs or those who want to make money from the writing skills?
So okay, so you can follow me on my social media. It's at Miss Cathy Kenny. So just add MS in front of my name. So it's at Miss Cathy Kenny. That's already for my YouTube, my Instagram, my blog, my Facebook account. So yes, that's it. So at Miss Cathy Kenny. And then my blog is lifeiskuleful.com. It has a quirky name just because I started way, way back and I wanted to make it more patriotic. So I didn't want life is colorful. I said, kulay. Let's go for life is colorful. So that's it. And then for budding writers and writerpreneur, I would just say I'd give the same advice that I give to anyone who wants to do something. And this is also what I always say at the end of my YouTube videos. Find your happy because you deserve it. So when you start writing, find what makes you happy. What are you happy to be writing about? What are you happy to be that you're not going to sleep yet? You're going to waste an hour or 2 hours in a day just to do a blog post. What are you happy to write or to share about? Find your happy. When you find it, then you can go ahead and start doing this because it will be it will bring joy to you. You will be happy about what you're doing, and people will be drawn to that, and they will start reading and they will start sharing, and then everything becomes organic and things will just happen. Don't go into writing because it's going to make me money. No, writing is considered actually before, like, artists, you're kind of poor, not making money. We're lucky that now we can actually make a lot of money, but only if you've already done the legwork. So I would say find your happy. When you do, that's when you start doing this, because every single challenge, every single roadblock will be something that you can overcome because you love what you're doing.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for being an inspiration. Parang ikaw ang ray of sunshine and color sa amin. Sa panonood ng webinar na to. Thank you for everyone who joined us. We still have 25 people um, watching right now who stayed until the end. So thank you so much. May pahabo si Janelle Alcover. Thank you daw. Thank you
Hi,
also for
hello.
joining. Everyone just comment your takeaways nyo from today, your action plan, so that we can read them. Till our next Writerpreneur show, just follow us here at Writing Hacks Academy and visit writinghacksacademy.com. See, Kathy and I will be chatting still backstage, but bye everyone. See you
Bye.
soon.
Thank you so